Well, we get through last night. We get through the rain at Flamborough. They're weird. They had like a satellite disruption, and they delayed the races, and then they were going to run them off, and then boom, the satellite come on, and all of a sudden it was business as usual. It was an odd night. But we have 3 barns to run through. Now, both Jared Bothwell's horses are heading to the Ohio sale. He has Boston Glide now, and Lima's son, up at Stutzman Swimming. Boston Glide's leg looks good, but it still needs some time to heal. And I'm not optimistic about being able to race him in the tough non-winners of 2 here. So I think we'll try the sale market with him in Ohio. The same with Lima's son, as we called him. Just can't put it all together and keep it together. Just needs time. He needs a patient horseman with a patient hand. That's going to take their time with this horse. And although I own a large chunk of Lima's son, I'm not the only owner, and I have to do what's right for our partners. Ollie, you're just going to go ahead and pick your nose? Okay, way you go. Yeah, Daddy. I saw that. I think that was destined for the old yap.
Daddy?
Yeah.
Daddy, what's the Wi-Fi password?
Anyway, I'm doing a video here. I don't know if anybody knows that or not, but that's what's taking place here.
Daddy, where are we?
Shh. We're Bell 802, I think.
Bell 802.
Anyway, so both Jared Bothwell's horses will be heading to the sale. We'll try and send some horses up to Jared again in the near future. Honey, just hold on. In the near future, and take care of him. He does a great job. He had Sally DeVee. We sold Sally DeVee. Pam Schott, one of our clients, bought Sally. Probably one of the best purchases we've sold in quite a while. I think Pam's going to do very, very good with Sally DeVee and make a great broodmare too. I always couldn't understand why people didn't want this filly. I think we undersold her. I think Pam did a great job buying her, but it was time for us to move on. There was no races for her here in this region. So that's Jared's barn. We don't really have, I was going to talk about Angie's barn, but those horses haven't really left for Angie yet. So we're going to exclude Angie, but soon Angie Coleman will have her own segment here.
Daddy?
We'll be back in just 1 second with Jason, Harry, and Kevin's barn. We're back now with Jason's barn. Jason's barn a little fragmented. Obviously, Jason is spending most of his time in Ohio right now. So the girls are obviously in charge of everything up here, Teresa and Cindy, and they do a very, very good job. I check in, talk to them, talk to Jason. Everything's working smooth, as you can see with our Vicar last night. We'll start with Jason's barn in Ohio, the Ohio portion of it. Oh So Pine is going to be racing in the Scarlet and Gray, I think it's called. Might be Scarlet and Gold, I'm not sure. It goes for $50,000 next week. Oh So Pine and Yes will be the 2 horses racing in that. The reason is twofold. Top 4 were given a berth, so Yes was in by a nose. We'd be having the same conversation if it wasn't, if it worked the other way. But I'm kind of happy it didn't. Let me explain why. Yes has 77,000 made in 3 wins, I believe. Oh So Pine had 98,000 in 3 wins. For them to race in an overnight outside of the Scarlet and Gold, it would have been a high class. Not one I would have been very comfortable racing him in. So the race secretary gave him the berth. They can only race 2. We can only race 2 in the Scarlet and Gold or Gray. The Scarlet race, sorry. So West 52nd only has 1 lifetime win. He fits the non-winners of 2. It only makes sense that we would take Oh So Pine and Yes for the final and race West 52nd in an easier class in the non-winners of 2, especially coming off the heavy lifting he did last week. Racing him in an easy race probably benefit him and us and my partners on the horse. And just so we're clear, West 52nd I own a small piece of. I don't own any of Oh So Pine. We're doing what's best for the barn and what's best for our clients and what's best for the horses. In this case, racing West 52nd in the non-winners of 2 just makes total sense. Oh So Pine and Yes will race in the Scarlet race, the Scarlet and Gray race. And See You in Tuscany was beaten pretty good last night. I'd like to get him in some sort of, I guess, non-winners of 2 or 3, non-winners of 3 in Ohio. Racing's going to be a little tough for him too. His first start, I would think, is going to be in the Buckeye. I'm not going to chase Ron Burke and Brian Brown's horses all year in that class. It's ridiculous. But I would like to have a really good 3-year-old and aged horse heading forward after this year. So we're going to do what's right by the horse. His first start will be likely in the Buckeye. Not likely. I just can't foresee a scenario where he would be entered in the Ohio Sire Stakes to race against the horses that he can't beat right now. So the intelligent thing to do would be to race him in the Buckeye. We'll drop down now to the Ontario side, the Canadian side. Arvika looked tremendous last night. You guys took advantage of me too. You chicken hawked all the shares that I had left in Arvika. 15 of them went to a group, and I had 18 left 2 weeks ago. Between Greg Schoner, Alan Howard, and Robert Daly, you stole all my shares of Arvika. I'm Arvika-less now. So Arvika is really, really good right now and looked tremendous last night. You guys got a deal there, got a bargain on those shares, which is fine, whatever. There's got to be give and take in the stable. We're going to get beat up sometimes, and sometimes we're going to win. I think we got a winner here with Arvika, obviously. I think she's got a bright future. This is the filly. Now, finally, this is the filly we expected her to be. Now, I had dropped it and mentioned it that maybe she could go to New Jersey for the New Jersey Sires, but those horses are trotting in 52, 53 right now. We just got this filly brimming with confidence. Let's not get her beat up. So probably a fool's errand running her down in New Jersey right now. She's going to stay here. We'll race her in the non-winners of 2, not this Thursday, but the next Thursday. Certainly not going to race her back in 5 days after the way she raced last night. Give her some time. Do a little work on her. Her knees still bother her a bit. Her feet bothers her a bit. So we're going to work on that. Bay Jewel didn't race horrible last night. And the only reason I say that is because my bar for how I want her to look has slipped so disgracefully that 2-3 last quarter and 31 seconds is okay. Very disappointed overall. This is a filly that really, really fooled me. Thought she was a nice filly. I think she could be a nice racehorse someday. But she is quite a ways from where she is now to where even I thought she could be or would be. Stop. Or where she should be. So, Bay Jewel. Again, 2-3 last night was okay. Dance Hall Babe, she got cast in the stall last week and tweaked a muscle in her stifle. Not an injury, just tweaked it, just stretched it. So we gave her 5 days in the stall. She's starting back Monday. She won't school till a week Monday. A little setback, but not a big deal. She was schooling in 2-1 or 2-2 last week and made a break halfway down, coming out of the last turn. So still some tinkering to go with her anyway. Not really a big deal. Dance Hall Babe will bounce back quickly from that. Now, I told everybody on my qualifying report I had a big drop, and I dropped it in the start of the videos, but Del Crest Star Angel, man, oh man, she really lit me up the other day, and my eyes were big, and a big smile on my face coming off the track. She did exactly what we hoped she'd do. She matured into a nice filly. This filly looked very, very good the other day training. Start of the week, only because, again, this was a filly I really didn't have any expectations for. We were really just in limbo with her, right? We were in hopes and dreams mode where, geez, is she going to come back? Is she going to come back good? I hope she does. And she did. She looked very, very good the other day. Now, 1.25 still got a lot of work to do, but the way she did it, very impressive. Ivanka, I would say the other side of that coin, she was just about as unimpressive as she could possibly be the other day in the qualifier, wasn't she? A little bit on the left line, a little heat in her left foot. Oh, you got to turn that down, buddy. Okay. A little bit of heat in her left foot. Not impressed. I was not impressed. Ivanka's got a real lackadaisical way about her. And if she wasn't heading to Illinois, and we didn't have Illinois, and the racing wasn't a little cheaper out there, and we didn't have such a contingent waiting for her to get there, she would be going to the Ohio Sale. So Ivanka needs to get to Illinois quickly. We'll qualify her once more. She should be able to go in 2-1, 2-2. And then we'll send her out to Angie and Rob, who know her very, very well. A filly that did look good training is her training partner, Not an Angel. Not an Angel had a little bit of a setback with a curb a few weeks ago. We gave her all the time she needed. She looked great. We crowed it. Brought her back. Brought her back, and she trained great the other day. Another 2 training trips, probably from a schooler, and then a schooler from a qualifier. She's 3 weeks away. Stonebridge Simba qualified great the other day, 58, last half 57. Very impressed with this colt. Very, very impressed. Couldn't ask him to come back much better than he has come back. Looked very, very good on Thursday. We'll probably requalify him on Thursday. Stonebridge Loyal, going to school her tomorrow. She is in the sale, as is Bay Jewel is. She is in the sale. I was just thinking about it before I get in the car. I mentioned it in another thread that maybe I might reach out to one of the people in New York. I drove for a girl in Mohawk the other night, Sabrina Clevenger. Apparently she does very, very well in New York and Buffalo. Might be a good spot to drop her over in before the sale, get new eyeballs on her, plus at the same time, maybe get some wins under her, maybe at least one before the sale. So that's something we're toying with right now. So that's Jason's barn. I'll be back in just a minute with Harry, and then Kevin's barn will get you on your way. Ollie was just telling me, I said I had 2 barns of 10 or so left, and Ollie said, well, that's 20 horses. Old Ollie's getting it. When he's not picking his nose, he's pretty sharp. And Ava's a little frustrated. We're getting ready to go to Starbucks just down the street, and Ava's a little frustrated because, how long have we been in the car, Ava?
Over half an hour.
Over half an hour, she said, little cranky. So we'll start with Harry's barn here. Harry's barn is really coming around, really starting to polish up nicely, getting ready for the summer. Got some new additions to Harry's barn this week, and some that will be leaving. Also, Maxwell Plum and the Butler Did It will be leaving for the sale just after the open house. So we got Casanova's Jewel. Casanova's Jewel trained good back the other day, fresh off his belly flop in Mohawk. So Casanova's Jewel, for those of you who didn't know and don't follow, Casanova's Jewel was going a mile 58 at Mohawk 2 weeks ago. Caught a shoe and flopped right there, dropped. I get thrown off the bike onto the track. He get up though, he's just a professional. He get up, just shook his head and walked away. He's such a nice horse to be around. I really like this horse. So Cash trained good the other day. He'll school on Thursday. I'd like to see him go a mile 59 again. Maybe 2-1. He hadn't trained fast since the day he went down. We'll see. We'll go fast mile with him on Thursday. Final Answers, training back good now and looks good. As I said, every day he was on the track, he looks sound, and those are days I haven't seen for quite a while. So Final Answers on the comeback trail. Just a Tad. What about Just a Tad? Never missed a check, never made a break in all 5.
Dumbo.
You're what?
I want to go see Dumbo.
Well, think about it. I'll run it by the committee. Just a Tad. If you'd have told me Just a Tad would never miss a check and never make a break in his first 5 starts after running for an entire year almost, I would have said you're crazy, but that's exactly what's taking place here. Just a Tad's actually turning into a horse, mile 59 the other night, 29 seconds on the end of it. Probably going to scoot him over to the class where Arvika raced last night. Switch spots because Arvika's a little bit better right now than Tad. I think switching spots makes sense. So Arvika will race a week from Thursday in that class, and Just a Tad will miss a week. Want to miss a week with Just a Tad. I'm going to Ohio, and I'm certainly not going to trust anybody else to go with Just a Tad just yet. And he's raced 5 weeks straight, so Just a Tad can get a week off. Lincoln James is jogging every day, but we gave him a little time off. As I said, he had a tiny injury. We're going to get him re-looked at this week, I think, probably is the best thing. Get him re-examined. And as I said, I think he's heading to Illinois to Rob and Angie's barn. What kind of time frame we're looking at, I'll know this week after getting him re-examined. But seems sound on the track, seems fine on the track, and sharp. Maxwell Plum, we got him qualified. Now Max is going to head off to the sale. I like Maxwell Plum. I don't want to get into... Ava, please don't do that, honey. Put your hand over the speaker then, please. Ava, hand over the speaker, please. Thank you. So, the one game won't turn down. It's annoying, and I don't want to throw it out on the road. So, Ava's holding the speaker. Maxwell Plum, I love this horse. As I said, I don't want to get into it, but Max hasn't matured yet. I don't know when that maturity will finalize, and I don't know what he'll look like after that. If I can't answer those 2 questions, they're 2 very important questions for my clients, and I think Maxwell Plum just needs to maybe go to the sale. I think he'll do somebody good, and he'll make somebody a nice racehorse, and I hope he does because he's a really nice horse, but old Maxie's going to head down to the Ohio sale. Screaming Hawk, horse with tons of talent that has really struggled. We talked about this over and over and over again. Screaming Hawk tries hard, and he gets frustrated when he makes breaks too, but that is a maturity thing. Now, the difference between Screaming Hawk and Maxwell Plum, Screaming Hawk doesn't pound himself, and Maxwell Plum does get at himself quite a bit, interfere. Screaming Hawk does, obviously, when he makes those breaks, but he's fast. I schooled him the other day in 58 last quarter and 28 and 2, in with pacers, and only one hauled him in at the wire. Screaming Hawk is very, very good right now. That doesn't mean that he won't go out and make a break. If he does, I'm going to pull my hair out. But I believe that Screaming Hawk is on the road, not just to recovery, but the road forward. Dave. Thank you. Sunshine's Finest schooled the other day in 58, looked good. Needs another schooler, couple of races. He's coming back pretty good. I've been very happy with him. I haven't seen him come 26 seconds yet, so we want to see that. But he come 27 in a piece the other day in a schooler and looked really, really good there. Sunshine in. She was going to get a week off, and then the race office called looking for entries for the maiden. And I'd said, talk to Harry, but I know Sunshine in is in the barn, and but she does not fit the maiden. You're going to have to open it up for her, which they did. She drew the outside. I think she's going to be competitive. I just want to, again, continue to race her, put her in the pack, race her, and have her moving forward. New addition to Harry's barn is Utopian. You know what? I'm going to talk about the babies after I talk about the racehorses for the barn, because I don't have them in alphabetical order. So we're going to skip Utopian for a second. Were we Ultra School good, or qualified good in 59? Kind of maybe come back with another qualifier with her. We could race her in London or something, but I'm not going to be there. And although I think she's pretty sure-footed, I do want to race her first start. So maybe we'll come back with one more qualifier with War We Ultra on Thursday. White Tiger's going to make a schooling debut on Thursday. Yes, he's racing. He's schooling on Thursday. I think a mile and...
sold Cherry, so I want White Tiger.
Well, Cherry's is... what was her name?
Cherry.
Yeah, but what was her racing name?
Too Far
Gone, yeah. So you want to trade me Too Far Gone shares, who I amished, for White Tiger. Well, it sounds like you're going to make a very good businessman someday, or woman someday. I'm going to decline that offer. I'm just going to go with a straight no. I will allow you to share some of my shares with White Tiger. I'll allow you some shares in the enjoyment of White Tiger. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I can do that. So White Tiger will be schooling on Thursday. I expect a mile of 58. He was very good the other day. I don't think we can get the hobbles, leave them off him. He was switching gears coming off in 56 the other day. Halfway down the lane, he just swung into another gear that just most horses don't have. And as he was swinging into that gear, he put a step in, made a little break. And I'd said to the guys after, maybe put a little light set of hobbles on him for next week. So White Tiger will be schooling on Thursday morning. Now we'll drop down. We'll go to the babies. Ava, turn that down, honey. Right now. We'll go to the babies. I have 3 horses up with Harry now. Capistrano, obviously, she's going to make her first training. Now the drone will be on Friday. Capistrano will make her first training session on Friday. Don't know if she'll be in the drone because she's not ready to go with anybody. So I think maybe I want to get you guys to see her. So maybe Harry will just go his mile by himself with her, or I'll go with her. And then we'll drone that, video that, so you get a chance to see how talented this filly actually looks. Friday will be her first training session back. Giddy Up Delight I have on here. I drove Giddy Up Delight in the Gold Cup and Saucer, for the love of God. Giddy Up Max is now going to be down with Harry. You'll see a lot of this going on the other day, and I should have been clear about this. The horses aren't switching barns for any reason other than we have grooms coming in and out. We have horses leaving and going to the sale, and horses being sold, and horses going other places, Ohio, Pennsylvania. So we're trying to shuffle our grooms and our horses around. So Giddy Up Max will be going down to Harry's barn. Next is Utopian. He headed down there also. Utopian looked really, really good training last week. I expect him to build on that. I might go again with this horse on Friday. We'll see. But Utopian looks good. So that's Harry's barn. We'll be back in a minute with Kevin's barn. We get some new additions to Kevin's barn. Some horses that'll be heading to Kevin's barn also. Back in a minute just with that. We're back now. Kevin's barn. Kevin's barn's had a decent week. We've had some... Kevin's got 3 horses heading to the sale, so we do have some horses that will be heading down to Kevin's. Now, these horses on the bottom, the yearlings, have not gone to Kevin yet, but they will be, I believe, in the coming weeks. We're going to start with Be My Delight. Now, Be My Delight's slated to go to the sale. Race not bad the other day. I'd like to see her race that good again this week coming up. Turn that down, young man. I'd like to see her race good again this week coming up. Colin told me he hooked a wheel or something. He thought that it cost him. Ava, stop. It cost us some money, but not a big deal. I just want to see her come back good this week. So I thought she raced adequate last week. I'm looking for a little jump up from Be My Delight. Better Call Mike, and Margot knows this. He is headed for the sale, but he's got 2.5 weeks to pull his pants up. He raced okay last night. I really believe Better Call Mike will do somebody some good this year. This colt is growing. He's getting stronger, but you know, you guys see this in the way he's not a Sire Stakes horse. So if he's not a Sire Stakes horse and he's 5th in the condition, looks like he's headed to the condition claimers, why do we have him here? So really, Mike, I believe Mike will do somebody some good, maybe in a place like Buffalo. Better Call Mike will do somebody some real good, but he's not a stake horse, and if he's not going to find a class that we can really dominate, like Arvika looks like in that class, or many of the horses we had before Book the Bet did in the class she was in, if we can't have a horse that can do that in those classes, then he's not going to do much good for us. So Better Call Mike, I like the horse, I like the way he raced last night, just needs to do more, and I don't think he's ready to just yet. Buckingham had a poor outing the other night. Now, Kevin had said to me, he goes, Anthony, I looked at all our race lines from last year. When you didn't leave with her, or Sylvain didn't get her spotted off the gate when they took her back, she never raced good. Factor in the pouring rain and the mud, and the fact that James sat in the 8th or 9th with her the whole way, 7th the first 5/8, and then really, I believe, was shuffled almost 10th coming out of the last turn. He said, I just don't think she put out. He said, I just don't think he can race this filly like that. He might be right. So I'm going to give it a pass. I know it was a bad line, but I know James come up to me after the qualifier. Yeah, bud? You're hot? Here, we'll open this window. Sorry, my feet were a little cold. Buckingham, I'm going to give her a pass because James told me how good she qualified. He really thought she qualified well. I would have thought she would expand on that. Instead, it looks like some regression. Let's call it the weather. Let's call it not the way to drive her. So we're going to give her a pass until next week. There's lots of stuff we can do with Buckingham. For the love of God, we can put Buckingham in the class below Book the Bet was. Her claiming price is almost 30 grand, and she can race good in there if she's not going to be a stake filly. I'm not really that worried about it. Book the Bet ended up being a very good horse for us down the stretch, didn't she? Too bad she got claimed, but rarely they get claimed out of that class, and this could be a place where Buckingham might find some fun also. But that's not here yet. I'm just talking out loud about what might take place in the future, just really showing that we have lots of options with Buckingham. Certainly not concerned about her just yet. Cruising with Angus is back jogging. I don't think they've even thought about training him yet, but they will soon. I'm still perplexed about how quickly he healed. This was a significant injury that healed quite quickly. And Cruising with Angus, there's no rush now because we didn't pay him into the Sire Stakes, but he does fit, obviously, tons of classes also. So Cruising with Angus, Kevin's going to take his time with him. Cruising in Style, 59 last week. Kevin said he picked away at his food after, and he would get that way, gets a little wound up. So I think Cruising in Style, we're going to put him on Gastrogard, which obviously is allowed to be on. And then we will probably school him Monday, a week from Monday, let's say. I don't know if Kevin has him slated for Thursday. I don't want this horse losing any weight. It's taken 2 years to put weight on him. Kevin's kept it on him all the way down to the races. So most important is to keep that weight on that horse. Heart 8 qualified well, as I had said before in the qualifying report. She looked a little tired after, but she did flip her heart, had atrial fibrillation 2 weeks before. It's becoming a little more common these days, isn't it? I think the horses are a little more frail. They're working real hard. Their electrolytes are a little imbalanced, and she flipped her heart. She didn't show any signs of it the other day at the qualifier. We scoped her after, completely clean, no mucus, no blood, no nothing. Listened to her heart, was working perfectly. She qualified great, 58 last quarter and 28. I was happy with Heart 8. Another horse very similar to Buckingham. Lots of options here with this filly. Holding Steady. Not a lot of options with him. He's going to be heading to the sale, a horse that we might think about sending to New York. I have to get into that today. I'm going to message that girl and see if she can take them. At that point, it's really just drawing health papers. But then the only hurdle is getting everybody licensed in New York to race Hold and Steady. That might be a sticking point. Master Saver raced good last night. A tiny bit flat. but raced pretty good. Trotted in 2-1. Track was really hard. He wears bar shoes because his feet hurt him, and I think 1 and 1 equals 2 here. Feet were probably a little bit sore last night. Raced great. What's with the cranky face?
I want to go to Starbucks
Okay,
now.
spoiled brat. Imagine, I want to go to Starbucks now. No, my kids aren't spoiled at all. Anyway, Master Saver, as I said, 1 and 1 equals 2. He's got sore feet. He was a little bit flat. The track was hard. You do the math. But he steered good. He tried hard, and he raced good. That's why I love racing this horse. Road Tripper got a week off. We did a little work on him. Kevin's going to go with him. I'm almost to the point where I know he's good, and we turned down a lot of money for this horse, but he's still growing. And I might actually turn him out for a month and let him just cool down. This horse has already proven he's got tons of speed. Now,
Daddy.
What, honey?
Fact, every time you turn a horse out, they come back very bad and fat.
Well, fat's good. But very bad? That's not true. We turn Lawmaker out. We turn White Tiger out. I think your facts are not so much facts. Road Tripper. I want to ensure this horse stays good. He's got some bruising in his foot and his knees bother him a little bit. I'm not, and make no mistake, the vast majority owner of Road Tripper is this guy right here. And then the group that we had formed, you're going to hear more about them in the coming weeks. The group we had formed took a 20% stake of Road Tripper, and then we have 10 shares throughout. But Road Tripper has got a very, very bright future. Managing him smartly is important. I had some calls from people in Europe about buying this horse also. Ava. Hi, Ava. Ava.
Yeah.
Stop. The issue with Road Tripper in Europe is he's on Lasix. I don't really think he needs to be on Lasix anymore. Lasix came up in the middle of the summer. He just a trickle of blood, and Kevin thought it might be good to put him on Lasix. I certainly didn't disagree, but he wasn't a hardcore bleeder. For those of you out there that are trying to wrap your head around the issues at hand today as far as Lasix go, Lasix is a great tool. I believe it's probably a bit of a problem in the thoroughbreds where I think, don't quote me on this, but I think something like 80 or 90% of first-time starters are on Lasix. It's abused. It's abused, I think, in the thoroughbred world. And no disrespect to any thoroughbred trainer. Hold on, buddy.
Can I go outside? It's a little bit too hot.
Okay, you can go outside for a sec. We're only going to be a couple of minutes. But
I'm going with him.
Okay, we're going to be leaving in 2 minutes, okay? Just leave your computer here. Leave your thing here, babe.
No, I can hear it out there because you won't let me.
Oh, I see. Her thing's loud, and I told her she can't use it in here while I'm doing my video. So they're the only kids on the block sitting on the front lawn playing on computers. Sad, isn't it? Anyway, the Road Tripper thing, it is a bit of a, I would stop short of saying an epidemic in the thoroughbred world, and I don't know enough about thoroughbreds to know why they have so many of them on it or they have to be on it. I could give you my 2 cents, but really, it would be uninformed. So I'm going to leave it at that. But when it comes to standardbreds, you look at our Vika, how much she's improved on Lasix, and Road Tripper has been good on Lasix, but I'm not sure he needs to be on it. And the one thing you will see in standardbreds that you likely won't in thoroughbreds is we're very likely going to take Road Tripper off of Lasix if we turn him out. The reason being, if we were to sell him in Europe like we did Lawmaker right now, if he does progress and become the horse I know he'll be, he's worth a lot more not on Lasix, and I don't think he really needs it. So we can take him off it, where a horse like our Vika does need it. So I think the way that standardbred racing approaches the Lasix program and the use of Lasix is a much more responsible way, if nothing else. And I see a lot of pushback from a lot of people using or not using Lasix. And I know in Europe you're not allowed to use Lasix in thoroughbreds or anything. The New York is pushing back away from using Lasix. A lot of the Grand Circuit events, the Hambletonian went that way. I don't agree with that. But I guess the argument can be made if you're going to go 2 heats in a day, might not be the best thing for a horse on Lasix anyway. Having said that, we have Oso Pine painted in Hambletonian. He's got a lot of work to do before we start talking about Hambletonian, but he's a Lasix horse. So a lot to talk about in the Lasix realm. It doesn't apply to standardbreds as much as thoroughbreds, but unfortunately, what goes with one will go with the other. If they ban it in thoroughbreds, they will ban it in standardbreds, and I think that's a horrible mistake. I think maybe just making it much more difficult to get your horse onto the Lasix program might be a better step forward. To think that you should ban Lasix, I think, is ridiculous for the people that say, oh, they don't use it in Australia, New Zealand, and Europe. Yeah, well, that's why a lot of those horses end up here. There's a good trade between the two of them because, as I said last week, if you bleed in Australia and in New Zealand twice, you're banned for life. A lot of the horses ending up in Yonkers, in New York, and New Jersey that have NZ and A after their name, it's not because they bought them and they're just doing great over here. It's because they were bleeding over there. And you know, I said in a column that I wrote for Harness Racing Update last week, this is not an enhancement. If my kid's playing hockey and the coach comes up and says, we're passing a new rule, no inhalers allowed playing hockey, you're not allowed to use inhalers in sports in any way, why? This isn't an enhancement. This is allowing your kid, or in this case, your horse, to race to its potential because you're treating an affliction. And that is well documented on the program. Lasix is a big L beside the horse's name. For the people that watch closely, Arvika's last 2 races were her first 2 on Lasix. Don't think that any smart gambler missed that. They didn't. And it's another angle for people to look at. So I think it's twofold. One, it allows good trade between Europe and North America, where horses like Lawmaker that weren't on Lasix can be sold in Europe, and horses that need Lasix can come to North America. 2 very different styles of racing, 2 very different types of horses, and training, but at the same time, a good mix of both. And then for as far as Lasix, this whole enhancing the horse is a bunch of garbage. It's not true at all. You're helping the horse become, but not only are you helping the horse achieve its maximum potential, but it's well documented. You have the big L beside the horse. That Lasix angle is not gone unchecked or unnoted, and it's not missed. So I completely disagree with the calls to ban Lasix. I think it will cause a lot of trouble in horses and a lot of trouble in this game. I think it's unnecessary, and I absolutely am against banning Lasix in horse racing. For those of you out there watching that disagree, feel free to send me an email. But I've done this my whole life. Probably the best thing that has come to racing is Lasix as far as helping horses. And people might say it dries them out, and this causes this and causes that. Again, Lasix has been around a long time, a lot longer than the afflictions of today that people are trying to blame on Lasix. Arrhythmia, heart attacks, horses dying. Lasix has been around a long time and a lot longer than those types of things were going on. So I disregard that also as being fake news. So we were talking about Road Tripper. I think he's at a place right now where he's definitely in no danger of hurting himself or us giving up on him. This is a very, very good, very talented horse. He's getting better every week. Listen, Road Tripper's best races might be a year from now, but they'll be with us. So Road Tripper, we did make some changes, did some vet work on him. If he races great this week, great. If he makes a break or doesn't race good, he'll likely head to the field for 4 to 6 weeks, and he'll come back off of the Lasix program. Time Houdini schooled the other day on Lasix. Time Houdini has hit the Lasix program, schooled in 58 last quarter in like 27 and 4, 28 seconds, and looked very, very good doing it. He'll be in the non-winners of 2 this week. Might want to watch out for him. This colt looked very strong the other day. I've been very, very happy with how he came back. Time Tulo, a little bit flat, kind of a shitty, muddy night. I got him away kind of at the back, and Kevin said when he brought him to the track, he really washed out. You know, and what I mean by that is he came a little bit early. He's a stud. I should have cut that horse last year. That's my fault. He's still a stud. He should be a gelding. Anyway, he came into the paddock squealing and roaring on his hind feet. By the time it was time to warm him up, he was covered in sweat already. That's called washing out. He was washed out, I believe. We scoped him after. Very minimal amount of mucus, maybe a couple of specks of blood. Nothing serious. Nothing we can't treat. But need to get him there later before he warms up. Not hours before. So I think you'll probably see an improvement from Time Tulo this week from last week. Very happy with what I saw. I thought he could have been a charging second, but when you factor in finding out after about this being washed out and then scoping him and have this tiny little mucus and blood, not really hard to understand how he was an okay 4th instead of a really good 2nd. Time Tulo come out swinging next week. So that's Kevin's barn. I've gone through all the barns now, giving you a complete update of everything that's gone on this weekend, what's going on next week. I'm heading to Ohio next Friday morning. The drone will be next Friday morning, starting at 7 o'clock, hopefully. I haven't confirmed that with Curtis, but that's what I'd like to do, because at 11:30, I'm pulling anchor at 11:30. Amy and I and the kids are going to Ohio for the weekend, and need to leave at 11:30. So I will be in touch with you this week. We have schoolers on Monday. We have Stonebridge Loyal schooling. And then on Thursday, we have a number of horses requalifying, a number of horses schooling. One of the most important horses, I guess the most important horse in our barn right now, anticipation-wise, I guess, for the 2019 season, White Tiger is schooling on Thursday. So a lot going on this week, a lot coming up, a lot to do. We'll be back soon. Talk to you guys this week. Take care.